Hello and welcome to Bear News. I'm Michaela Lander.
And I'm Ben Shoemate. Coming up on today's show, the recent shooting in Florida is influencing the nation, including the department store who sold Parkland shooter his gun. Stay tuned for all the current details.
It might come as a surprise that Greeley has a substantial gang presence. We have more on the issue.
We've got all that and more on this episode of Bear News.
Don't go anywhere. With a look at national news, it's unofficially official. President Donald Trump plans to run for re-election in 2020 and named a digital advisor from his winning 2016 effort as campaign manager. Trump named former advisor Brad Parscale to head up his 2020 campaign. Parscale headed up the president's digital operations efforts in 2016, particularly the social media advertising effort. Although Trump hasn't formally announced his candidacy, he left little doubt of his intention to run by filing paperwork to organize a re-election committee on the same day as his inauguration. A business research group says consumer confidence is higher now than at any time in the past 18 years. The conference board says its widely watched consumer confidence index rose to 130.8 in February. That's the highest reading since November of 2000 and a jump of more than 6 points from January 2018's 124.3. Economists watch the conference board closely because it predicts likely consumer spending, which accounts for about 70% of the U.S. economic output. Elsewhere, Broward County, Florida Sheriff Scott Israel continues to defend his organization's actions during the recent shooting at a high school in Parkland, Florida. Several Florida legislators and at least one shooting survivor called for Israel to resign for Governor Rick Scott to suspend the sheriff after reports that as many as 4 deputies were at the school but failed to enter the building and engage the shooter. So far, Israel refuses to resign. The governor calls for a state investigation into the sheriff's department's response. In a late development, the school resource officer who resigned after being suspended for not entering the building where the shooting took place says his actions followed policy and were proper. Through his attorney, Deputy Scott Peterson said the initial call reported firecrackers being set off. When he arrived outside the school building and recognized the sounds as gunshots, Peterson said he believed the shots came from outside rather than inside the building.
Well, while a national conversation surrounding gun control continues, big changes comes to Dick's Sporting Goods. The 19-year-old shooter bought his AR-15 semi-automatic rifle legally from the retailer in 2017. In response, Dick's Sporting Goods is immediately updating its gun sale policy. The company says it won't sell military-style semi-automatic rifles anymore. They also said all customers must be older than 21 to buy firearms in Dick's stores, and they won't sell high-capacity magazines anymore either. In the statement, the company implores elected officials to make drastic changes to help protect communities around the country. These updated regulations include banning assault-style firearms, raising the minimum purchasing age to 21, and requiring mental health information on every background check. The memo repeatedly uses the term common sense to describe the need for updated national gun laws. The retailer statement said the company recognizes that at this point, thoughts and prayers are just not enough. Wondering what that pesky weather is doing? Meteorologist Braden has the current conditions.
Hi, this is meteorologist Braden Denny here with your current conditions. Right now in Greeley, we're experiencing temperatures in the upper 30s with some calm winds. For tomorrow morning, for your walk across campus, we have our temperatures in the low to upper 30s with our winds starting to pick up throughout the day. And for March, we can expect some average highs of 55 degrees and some average lows in the mid to upper 20s, and our average precipitation at 1.2 inches. We'll have more for your weather here later. Back to you.
Each week, Bear News brings you tips and updates about ways to stay healthy. This week, reporters Sarah Methuselah and Zoe Campbell went to Cassidy Hall to find out more about steps you can take to stay healthy here at UNC.
Although nationally, doctors reported a record number of cases of the flu, cases at UNC are actually lower in the previous years. This week, we sat down with the immunization director, Deborah Miller, for an interview to find out more about the flu outbreak and to talk about ways that you can keep yourself healthy during this midterm season. It's midterm season, and with all of the stress that comes with it, students are more vulnerable to getting sick. But here at UNC, students have actually been taking care of themselves rather well. Immunization Director Deborah Miller said that while the national average of influenza cases have increased, cases at UNC have declined.
So on campus it's been pretty low compared to previous years. So I think we've had maybe 10 cases a week in the last month or so.
What students should pay attention to is the amount of stress during midterms. Too much stress can have detrimental effects on students' health and may even work counterproductively to the goals of students set during the school year.
Sleeping, and that's really an issue on, for students to get enough sleep and to eat right, and between classes or whatever. So that's something that you really need to focus on, and just making sure you're drinking a lot of water, and that doesn't. And you want to avoid caffeine, so that's any teas, pops, Red Bulls, anything like that. So because caffeine dehydrates you.
Reporting from Cassidy Hall, I'm Zoe Campbell, BearNews. With this midterm season, the first thing to remember is to take care of yourself. Mental and physical health are two of the most important things to maintain. The medical clinic at UNC is on the first floor in Cassidy Hall on Central Campus. While flu shots are limited, you can still go to the local pharmacy to get a flu shot, so be sure to get yours.
We at Bear News want to wish you all luck this midterm season.
Have you ever heard the phrase, "Don't cross the train tracks"? Well, there's a common myth in Greeley that crossing the train tracks can put you into gang territory. Recently, Gang Unit Sergeant Greg Bullig said there's no specific area where gangs reside, dispelling the urban legend. But Bullig admits that there is a gang activity in Greeley, and thus the need for gang intervention unit. In fact, there are two predominant rival gangs in Greeley, the Sureños and the Norteños. The Sureños are associated with the color blue and the number 13, while the Norteños are associated with the color red and the number 14. Bullig said gang recruitment is often rooted in family ties, and gangs frequently recruit vulnerable adolescents beginning in middle school. In order to reduce gang affiliation and behavior in schools, District 6 recently introduced a strict dress code restricting notched eyebrows and solid red and blue shirts. While the gang unit works hard to arrest career criminals in Greeley, Bullig said Greeley is a safe community.
It is a safe city. Yes, it has crime, just like any other big city would. I mean, we have well over 100,000 people, plus with the students, we're probably talking 100, 15, 20,000 people. Crime's going to happen when you have that many people. But I really do think it's a safe city, and that I would definitely feel comfortable sending my kids to UNC.
While Greeley might always have gangs, Bullig reiterates that the town is safe and a welcoming community.
Coming up after the break, meteorologist Michaela Lucero has your full weather forecast, and we have an update on Student Senate.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Michaela Lucero. Here's what's going on in Colorado right now. Northern Colorado's at about 30 degrees, Denver's in the 40s, and in the mountains, we're in the 20s. On campus, we're at 40 degrees with a light wind of 1 mile per hour. The entire country is really warm right now. Our coldest temperatures are only in about the upper 20s, and we see those in North Dakota. We have some high temperatures of almost 90 degrees in Florida, and that's going to stick around heading into tomorrow. Places in Colorado might even get up to 70 degrees tomorrow. Let's take a closer look. Denver will be at 45, Northern Colorado will be in the 40s and 50s, and Pueblo will be in the 60s and almost the 70s. Now, even though it's been warm these last few days, Colorado, the entire state, is still subject to frost and freeze. The record high for today is 75 degrees, which isn't hard to believe because it's been pretty warm these last few days. The record low is -1, and the average is about 26. Now, the radar shows Colorado is pretty dry right now, but we've got snow on the west coast and a bunch of rain on the east coast. Let's take a closer look at this storm. We have quite a bit of snow forming in southern Idaho and even some snow in northern Nevada. Now this storm is going to move out and hopefully bring us some snow going into the weekend. If we look farther into the weekend, we see this storm starts to strengthen and hopefully it'll bring us some snow on Sunday. The low temperature in Denver tonight will be 20 degrees. The low in northern Colorado will be 30 and Pueblo will be at 35. And Greeley will be at 22 degrees with winds at 7 miles per hour tonight. Tomorrow morning for our sunrise at 6:31 a.m., temperatures will be at 24 degrees. Then for our sunset at 5:50 will be pretty warm at 53 degrees. For our early risers at 6 a.m. will be at 24 degrees. We'll warm up to 58 degrees by lunchtime and we'll still be at 52 by 6 p.m. Heading into our weekend, on Friday and Saturday we'll be in the mid-60s, Sunday 51, Monday and Tuesday will be in the 40s. Now keep an eye on Sunday. We're expecting snow and rain, but temperatures will be at 51 degrees. So heading into the weekend, make sure you have your winter jacket, your sunglasses, and an umbrella.
What do you as a student value about UNC? That was the question that started a 15-minute conversation about campus values at the Student Senate meeting last week. Student body president Kevion Ellis asked his peers what they value as students. After a 5-minute discussion in small groups, the Senate came back together to discuss values and ways to improve those values. Student Senate members said they would like to see the university focus more on diversity, equality, or equity, and academic integrity. In other business, Wells Fargo's contract with the university expires at the end of this school year. The bank has been on campus for more than 20 years. Wells Fargo, along with other banks, are set to give a presentation to the university in order to renew their contract for the bank's sponsorship. These presentations take place at the beginning of March. The next Student Senate meeting is March 7th. Don't forget to tune into BearNews to see what's happening in Student Senate.
If you weren't at the spring concert this Saturday night, what were you doing? Superstar Joanna Levesque, known professionally as JoJo, performed Saturday night at the University Center. For a fee of just $7, UNC students took a break from midterm studying to jam out to some of their favorite throwbacks. Meet and greet kicked off at 6:30 when fans gathered to take pictures with the celebrity icon. Then the doors opened at 7 and people filed in rapidly, pushing and shoving their way to the front. Student opener Slake Dransky started the night off right, energizing the crowd for JoJo with new, fun, and fresh beats. Then came the moment everyone was waiting for. At 9 p.m., the R&B legend JoJo took over the stage and the audience, singing her greatest hits, including 4 songs from the Billboard's Top 100. JoJo put on an excellent performance, sang to say the least, singing, dancing, and interacting with the audience. Perhaps the most notable part of the night came when JoJo sang the song that made her on the map. Her debut single, Leave, reached #1 on the U.S. Billboard Pop Songs chart, making her the youngest solo artist to top the chart at 13 years old, and it was easy to see why. When the drums started playing and cell phones came out and the audience screamed for the chance to get to sing along with JoJo to her #1 hit. In addition to her music career, JoJo also launched an acting career in 2002. With debuts in several television series and 2 Hollywood film appearances, JoJo quickly became one of America's most famous and loved superstars. And after Saturday night's concerts, it's safe to see she still got it.
Even if the weather outside is cold and unwelcoming, what brings friends together better than chicken and waffles? You could get chicken and waffles at the Marcus Garvey Cultural Center. The purpose? To allow students and staff a chance to come together and relax with some yummy comfort food. The staff served up crispy fried chicken and warm fluffy waffles. You could dress up your chicken with hot sauce as well as stack the waffles high with syrup and fruit. Whether you like sweet, savory, or spicy, they had something for everyone. The center just celebrated its 35th anniversary at the first of this month. What has the center done in those 35 years? Well, the mission is to bring a safe, inclusive space for students and staff. The Garvey Center holds events all year and all have the same purpose, to bring UNC community closer together. If you missed this month's get-together, don't worry. They serve chicken and waffles on every 3rd Wednesday of the month.
As JoJo sings her way into her next performance, BearNews reporter Sarah Methuselah asked students what artists they want to see in next year's spring concert.
I'm Sarah Methuselah reporting from the University Center, asking students what artists they want to see at next year's spring concert.
Post Malone.
Any artists at all? John Bellion would be a good one. I think that'd be a great one.
Vance Joy.
Honestly, I'm not really up with current music, so anything would just be nice.
Beyonce, I suppose.
Justin Bieber.
Probably impossible, but I would really like to see Kendrick Lamar or some kind of rapper.
Reporting from the University Center, I'm Sarah Methuselah, BearNews.
Whether your musical tastes range from hip-hop to country to folk songs, the spring concert happens every spring semester, so be sure to check it out next year.
You can voice your music preference during the spring semester next year as well.
And that's our show for tonight. Thanks for joining us this evening. Be sure to look out for us as our reporters cover weekly events around campus.
And we'll be back next week, but until then, stay up to date on our Twitter and Instagram at UNCO BearNews.
Be sure to follow us, and we will see you next week.